Welcome back to the Talk Yours podcast. Another edition of our wonderful, superb, splendoriferous podcast. That's what this is.
Stop intentionally saying It's pissing me off. We're trying to get better at that because sometimes I get lazy with this podcast. I don't edit ums out, and I probably should. By the way, we always wear the same clothes every day. That's why what bracket did we just do again? Oh, worst all-stars.
I don't even remember. That was like 3 days ago.
If the worst all-star bracket comes out before this, and you see us wearing the same things, we just love wearing the same exact clothes. Actually, it's different. I just have 7 different gray hoodies.
And I just have
7 different Kobe shirts.
different Kobe shirts.
With the exact same dunk.
The exact same dunk. He did this dunk a lot, so
It's only right.
I don't know what you want me to say. Anyway, we're actually here to talk basketball, believe it or not. You stop it. You know what? You stop it. That's my thinking word. Let me think.
What?
Oh, he's trying to cut me down. Knock me down a peg. Cut me down to size. Minimize me.
You're pissing me off.
Okay. We actually have things to talk about, believe it or not. The first thing I want to talk about, the Oklahoma City Thunder started out 24-1, looked on pace to beat the Golden State Warriors record of 73-9 in a season. Since then, they are 13-9, which is good for 11th in the NBA. They have been bested by teams in order, such as the Clippers, Pistons, Blazers, Celtics, Raptors, Spurs, Warriors, Bulls, Suns, Nuggets. In this period of time, J-Dub has gotten hurt once again. Shea has continued his excellent level of play, but overall, the team has lost some games, and not just close games. They got blown out by the Hornets of all teams. And during this stretch, they also lost to Indiana, and obviously Indiana was looking for revenge, but Indiana is also Indiana this year. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA. So my question for you, Corby, is do the Thunder, despite still being the clear favorites to win the championship, have reason to change their roster at this point?
I think they do, but they don't because Hartenstein has been out. Hartenstein, when he's been on the court, I actually right now want to look at his on-off numbers for the season, but it's been clear. I don't care what the stats say. They are better with Hartenstein on the floor when he has that little stupid push shot floater thing going. Like he's really good. Defensively, he's really good.
It's 85% apparently.
That's insane.
That's what I always hear. I don't think that's a real stat.
I do want to look at it real quick, but I do think they need to make moves. Even with the injury, I think they just have too many assets. And I believe the West, I'm not going to say it's wide open because it definitely could be more open in the next couple years. Mm-hmm. But they have too many draft picks to be playing with their food. Because you do see a team like the Denver Nuggets, who the Nuggets have like 4 different guys who could drop 50 at any game apparently, or in any game apparently. Because Jamal Murray did it last season, I think, or maybe this season. Aaron Gordon did it. No, Jamal Murray did it this season. I think Aaron Gordon did it last season. And then Peyton Watson has been an absolute hooper. Obviously Jokic, Cameron Johnson. Hopefully he eventually turns up. I think he kind of was before he got injured again. Christian Brown's been out. And then they have, other teams like the Clippers have been heating up recently. Mm-hmm. There are other teams who could really compete with this Thunder team, and this team is a copy of last year. And last year, while they won the championship, it was not a domination at all.
It was in the regular season for sure, but through that playoff run, you definitely saw the holes. And I don't know, this Thunder team is interesting because they're a team that can run away with a game at any point, but isn't necessarily going to. This is not the 2017 Warriors that just is better than you. The Thunder are a really good team. They do not have this level of star power that necessarily makes them so much better than everyone else.
And they could, though. They could get an MPJ or Larry Markkinen instead of Lou Dort. Lou Dort is bad at basketball. I don't care. I really think all of these other Thunder players are covering up how bad Lou Dort is.
Yeah, but Lou Dort's kind of like a staple of that team.
I just don't think getting rid of one staple is really going to ruin the chemistry that much. I understand that the Thunder's chemistry means a lot. They do their post-game interview with all the players go together and go to the local reporter instead of the ESPN one, and it's cool because of that. And that was cool last year. But let's move on from that. You guys are not this terrorizing team that's easily the favorite to win it all.
It was cool when y'all were going to the local reporter all together talking about, we're so happy, we love each other. You're supposed to be the number 1 team in the NBA, and you're playing like a bunch of bums.
Better start doing your job. You better start getting Lou Dort out of there. I mean, that's just how I feel. Now, looking at the stats on off, Actually, the Thunder are like equal with and without Hartenstein. But like I said, you have to always take these numbers into context. I'm pretty sure Jalen Johnson's numbers are still better, or like the Hawks are better without him on the court, which is obviously not true. You got to take it. So yes, they've had injuries, but I do think they need to get a legit starting small forward who they can confidently say is their starting small forward. Now, before you kind of had some hope that you had this draft pick that could have turned into Dai Bonsta. They don't have that anymore. But they do still have a bunch of picks that will be around picks 15, 16, 17. Hopefully they get like the Jazz pick next year because they'll probably, be top 8, 9.
Hopefully
and it's protected. Yeah.
Not for anyone else, but for them.
Right. And then they have a couple other picks. They have some future Clippers picks. Let's get rid of them. Let's win now. Winning 2 championships in this decade is not guaranteed. I don't care how many assets you have. Turn those assets into a legit player, not like a super win now player. But an MPJ and Larry Markkinen who have another 5 years in their career, even if they're getting paid a ton.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's a ton of reason to worry about the Thunder. The one thing I will say is that we did talk about him the last time we recorded, and we took whatever the opposite of a moment of silence is in order to do so. Mr. Jalen Williams has not looked himself, or maybe has not looked how we thought he would given his increasing level of play from year to year, and it's starting to get to a point where it is a little bit concerning. He's been hurt a lot this year, and when he's played, he hasn't looked particularly remarkable, and that's not really something you want out of your second option. When you have a guy of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's capability, you want a definitive, capable second option. We thought Jalen Williams was that, but so far this year, Chet's been better than him, and I got to be honest, I've grown to like Chet's game more this year, but I still don't think he is a championship level second option. So Jalen Williams needs to start playing a little bit better, or the Thunder need to look in the direction of getting another guy who can contribute offensively.
Also, the problem is J-Dub can't stay on the floor. Now he's now out. He's been out the last week, and he's going to be out the next week or 2.
Mm-hmm. Probably until almost the All-Star break.
Yeah, because they're probably going to play it safe because their record's so good.
So here's the teams they have coming up on their schedule. They play New Orleans, Minnesota, Denver, Orlando, San Antonio, Houston, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Milwaukee.
They might lose all of them except Milwaukee because New Orleans has been killing it. We can talk about that later if we want.
And I don't think they'll. I think they still have a winning record over this stretch, but that is a tough stretch of games to go into the All-Star break with. It is going to be very interesting to see what this team looks like through that stretch. I think this is going to be a recoup at the All-Star break kind of situation because with as good as they look to start the year, going 13-9 over their last 22 games is not something that team should have done. I mean, with how good they looked. They were not just beating teams, they were dominating teams. So after that, they play Brooklyn, Cleveland, Toronto, Detroit, Denver, Dallas, Chicago. They have a tough stretch of games to end the season. They had one of the easier starts, and I'm sure people are going to hold that against them a little bit now with how they have, quote-unquote, struggled a little bit recently. But I don't think that is a product of their schedule. I think it's just a product of the team being hurt and not having key guys available like Jalen Williams and Isaiah Hartenstein. And also, when you are the Thunder, you're a team of guys that relies on playing together. If your role players don't play well, sometimes you're not going to win games. They have some of the most consistent role players in the NBA, but even those guys are going to have off nights.
Trust me, it's not always the case, but sometimes you are only as good as the worst guy on the court. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to keep saying it. I don't like some of these OKC Thunder guys. It's Lou Dort. I'm going to keep hating on J-Dub, and I'm going to keep hating on Lou Dort, and everyone else is cool. Mm-hmm. The random 25-year-old white guys that they sign, and they're cool. Ousmane Dieng, he's cool. Nikola Topic is actually looking like he's recovering pretty well from his chemotherapy, which is amazing. He's cool. Mm-hmm. Thomas Sorber.
What a story, too, Nikola Topic. I mean,
yeah, first year tore his ACL. Yeah, second year, testicular cancer.
And back on the court playing
Third year
basketball.
MVP. Yeah.
I'd like it.
Would you? If Shai got an MVP next to him and Chet and J-Dub.
Sure. If it was a guy that had a torn ACL and testicular cancer, I'd root for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, incredible resilience in order to get back on the court.
And Thomas Sorber, who tore his ACL.
Yeah, crazy. I mean,
I think it was ACL. It was some sort of season-ending injury. Back-to-back OKC Thunder rookies. As much as we want to say that they have all this, they're so lucky and the refs and all, they've had some bad luck when it comes to them drafting players.
They really have.
Chet was also someone who missed his entire rookie season.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But the Thunder will be okay. I promise you that. Now, before we move on to our next definitive topic, we're going to have story time with Cam, patent pending. just the other day, I think it was even yesterday or 2 days ago, depending on how time zones work. That'll make sense in a second. There was a meet and greet in Australia. I did it again. I said, you can't say anything.
You've done it so
I'm
many
putting a bar
times.
on
I
it.
haven't said anything, by the way.
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate you gaining some acceptance and tolerance for your fellow mankind.
It's because this time I didn't bring the spray bottle. Next time I will. Dude, I'm okay. Go ahead. Come on. Get on with the story.
No, you good with your bit?
Yeah, that was my quick little cutscene. Now it's back to you.
All right, Australia. There's a meet and greet for some kids that had terminal illnesses, primarily cancer. The meet and greet was with Allen Iverson. Now, the whole promise was that from 10:45 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. they would be able to meet Allen Iverson. Talk to him, get some signed basketballs, jerseys, take a picture with him. Come 12:45, they still hadn't seen him. They ended up taking them, the families and everybody upstairs. This is according to an account shared by someone on the RNBA Reddit. So I don't know how official this is, but it seems like this is verified by other sources. They took them upstairs, right? The families and everybody. They then, after another period of waiting, brought only the kids in to meet Allen Iverson, which was odd. He requested that no parents be brought back with them. Then they all got to go back, and he was doing a media conference. They got to just take a picture with him briefly. And according to the eyewitness accounts, he wasn't smiling. He had his hands in his pockets. He seemed disinterested. And when they asked his security why he did not hold to the original promises that were made, why they were made to wait so long, why nothing went as planned, the simple statement was he was having a bad day. I don't want to get too into this. I don't know the full specifics of the situation. Everyone has bad days. These children had terminal illnesses. I believe majority of them, if not all of them. A lot of them were suffering from cancer. And I think it is really, it is just a really poor illustration of Allen Iverson's character. Now, if this is true, regardless, I mean, he might have been going through something. There might have been other circumstances, right? I want to give the human benefit of the doubt.
Because a bad day is insane.
Yeah, I think that is a crazy thing to say when you're talking to 12-year-old and younger kids, or around that age, who are dealing with terminal illnesses. I just don't understand how that even computes. It's just odd. It's truly odd. I mean, I want to kind of get your thoughts on that a little bit.
I'm just trying to think, like, it could have been the worst thing ever. Like, if Allen Iverson got some news or something that, like, someone close to him passed away, which that is a crazy benefit of the doubt to give to someone. But if it was something like that, then it's, like, a little bit understandable. But you got to find a way to just lock in because, yeah, these are little kids who could be, the terminal. I mean, they're gonna die soon, and this is like one of the coolest players in the NBA. And I think it's honestly sad, and I think people need to stop giving Allen Iverson a chance because he is one of the few, and obviously everyone who makes the NBA is wealthy and rich, but he made a lot of money in the NBA. He's one of the few guys to like have lost it all at one point, or like he was just terrible with his money. He had all these problems and stuff, and I think at one point he was like bankrupt or homeless, or it was like something like that. I think that was like one of the big stories with Iverson, and clearly he's not okay. I even kind of see it when I watch him do these like commercials where they really love the whole practice, like whole gimmick, and they'll use that in these commercials. And Allen Iverson in those doesn't even look like healthy to me. Like he looks like someone who's gone through a lot, and there's just so many. I think people just need to give up on Iverson. Go move on to some other NBA legends. Like I don't know. I just wouldn't. I don't think these kids are specifically asking for Allen Iverson. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think he's just a sad human being. Like that's just what it's kind of gone down to. That's what I think. Most players aren't like this. Most legends are like this. At least I would think not. You don't know these guys. These guys are just random. What are you gonna say?
Reading more of the story, it does look like not all of the kids were necessarily dealing with terminal illnesses. It was just children battling cancer, but still horrible thing. And obviously, regardless of whether it's considered terminal or not, cancer is a horrific thing to go through and can always progress and become worse. And the unknown aspect of it is just as frightening as the disease itself a lot of the time. What I want to speak on briefly, and I'm no analyst. I'm no qualified sports journalist. I am a 22-year-old recording a podcast in the adjacent room of the house that I live in with my friend of 7 years. I don't have a ton of qualifications to speak on the interpersonal dynamics, but what I do want to speak on is something that people say a lot, which is that athletes shouldn't be role models. And I agree to an extent. Maybe you don't have an obligation as an athlete to be a role model. Maybe if you are a John Morant, you don't need to represent yourself a certain way so that kids have a good standard to live by, because at the end of the day, you are your own human being too. But we excuse so much from these athletes, so much negative behavior a lot of the time. And sometimes we play off as being funny or humorous. But I think we, as an NBA fan base, need to hold our players to a higher standard. I don't think it should be acceptable for players to act however they want. I don't think that just because you are... I get it. You're a human being too. You want to do the things you can do, but you are getting paid millions upon millions of dollars to play basketball. Now, have you worked really hard to get in that position? Have you done a lot of things and sacrificed a lot of things in your life to get into that position? Most likely, yes. And did you? And we look at the people that play in the NBA. It's maybe changing a little bit, but a lot of people that play in the NBA came from very hard circumstances previously. I do not blame them for wanting to take care of yourself. But it is okay to ask these multimillionaires to acknowledge the privileged position they are in and act accordingly, right? I look at Anthony Edwards as a guy who could easily fall into the trap of being someone who is kind of a bad person, right?
I mean, he's already kind of
fallen into that trap. The one thing I will give him credit for is when it comes to interacting with kids and interacting with fans, he is always engaged with them. He seems to be kind. He seems to, the whole thing with the wristband last year, where he wore the wristband throughout the playoffs, and even when it broke, he got a new one, right?
I think a lot of people forget that at the very, very beginning of Anthony Edwards' career, this is like in his rookie season, he wagered a dude online who's pretty famous for playing Madden, wagered him like $10,000, or I think it was like $3,000, then it kept getting double or nothing, then he lost like 3 or 4 times in a row. He owed this dude like $15,000, $10,000, and just didn't pay him for, it might have been like a whole year he didn't pay him.
Yeah,
like these athletes, like you can't expect them. They're just humans.
No, they are just human. But I don't think you can say that you can't expect it. I'm not propping Anthony Edwards up on some type of podium, but at least he showed that to fans.
Yeah, I think
that should be the bare minimum.
That
is the bare minimum. We say, and this is something we've talked about on this podcast, that players don't have an obligation to the fans. No, they do. Okay, at the end of the day, if there were no fans, there would be no NBA. There would be no league. There would be no millions of dollars to feed these players. Okay. At the end of the day, you do have an obligation to the fan bases, not to, go out of your way or sign every autograph or do all this that some players do, but to at least be decent, right? And I don't think you can be a player, you can be a playa, you can do all this different stuff you want to do. You can, be not an example in your lifestyle choices, but you can at least show decency and respect to the people that show up to admire you and just get a little bit of your time. I don't think that's too much to ask.
No, it's not. Yeah, I know. I agree with you. The fact that Iverson was doing that is just, it's sad because, the NBA gave him so much and he can't even give the smallest thing back to kids.
And I hope that he's not going through something incredibly traumatic as well. I don't wish that on anybody. But as of right now, the way the situation's being reported, it reflects very poorly on him. Yeah.
Take some sort of medication for a couple of hours. If you're that sad, but these kids are relying on you, I don't know. I think you have to, especially because you made the obligation to do it. It's it'd be one thing if kids are asking you and you just say no, but if you're gonna say yes, then you got to do it and give them that respect.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I think anyone would respect your time if you're like, oh, I literally can't, I'm too busy. Oh, I have this family emergency, something like that. But to just ghost and then just give them no kind of respect. Yeah, that's really sad.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna move on to more upbeat topics. I just wanted to cover that real quick. I felt pretty passionate about that when I read that, so just wanted to talk about that a little bit. All right, moving on to our next topic. I want to talk a little bit about something that we've talked about a good amount on this podcast, and that is the Hawks, and that is Trae Young. The Hawks traded Trae Young on January 7th of this year. It was something that everyone kind of saw coming at a certain point. He made it very clear that his preferred trade destination was the Wizards. That's where he ended up going. They got a return of Corey Kispert and CJ McCollum. Now, the Hawks are in an interesting position right now because they're young, they are competing, and they're trying to get better actively. But they also have a potential top pick in the next draft, and it should be a top pick given that they have Milwaukee and New Orleans picks, or the better of those two picks. So they should get a pretty good pick in this upcoming draft. They're 6-4 since trading Trae Young. Corby, I have two questions for you. Number one, as a Hawks fan, how do you feel about how the team looks without Trae Young and the additions of CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert? And number two, do you feel satisfied with the direction of this team currently?
If we didn't have those draft picks, or one of those two draft picks, I would honestly not be too satisfied with what I've seen so far. But I just did it. CJ McCollum has kind of been, he's actually been good a lot of games, but bad a lot of games. And the reason he's been that since the trade is because he has so much usage off the bench. And I already know, at least I think in my head, that I don't think CJ McCollum is returning next season because he is an expiring contract. So I don't really know. Like, maybe I think the Hawks have a lot of good players, but we don't have a lot of like high usage guys who want to take a bunch of shots. You think about Jalen Johnson. Okay, that's a star right there who wants to take a bunch of shots. Dyson Daniels has been awful. I think he still hasn't hit a three. I could be wrong. I haven't watched the last like 2 games. No, maybe I watched the last game. Not today's game versus the Pacers though. But Dyson Daniels has been awful. He's been a guy who we paid $25 million a year, and he is an offensive liability. Some people have compared him to Matisse Thybulle. I wouldn't go that far because Dyson is a good playmaker. He can rebound. He can do all the other things, and he's a better defender than Matisse Thybulle was because Matisse could not guard on ball. But we have him. We have other young guys like Asa Newell, Mo Gay, who are like good, but they're not high volume scoring guys. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I don't want to be that high volume of a scoring guy, but he has been with Trae Young out. He has been averaging like 19, 20 points, but he's not like the most efficient. I just think we need kind of more scores. And I think that's why I was telling you earlier and you thought I was crazy, but I kind of was rooting for the Pacers to beat the Hawks so that there's a better chance that the Bucks or the Pelicans pick is better. Like, seriously, that's what I truly believe. I'm as a Hawks fan, I have no faith in this season. I don't think we're going to make it past the first round in the playoffs. I think there's zero chance of that happening. We could maybe sneak in the playoffs through the play-in, but that's really it. So I'm just looking forward to next season. But I like the direction we have because of this draft pick. But like, if we didn't have this draft pick, I wouldn't have been that big on the Trae Young trade because, I mean, we got CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert back. By the way, Corey Kispert was a minus 25 plus minus in a 16-point win. So that's a 41-point swing.
That's actually super impressive. That's almost as impressive as Cody Williams being like a minus 60.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Cody Williams was not that bad in the game for him to be minus 60. He's probably one of the better Jazz players that night.
They just got blown out.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy because when I was reacting to the trade, I was actually pretty excited about Corey Kispert. And he has not been good. He's shooting 33%. And it's only 7 games.
Yeah.
33% from 3. It's not good for a sniper. And then CJ McCollum at first was playing like actually terrible with a bunch of shots. Recently, he's had multiple 20-point games off the bench. He's just playing like a 6th man of the year guy. Obviously, he won't win it or anything like that. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. But I definitely do think we're missing a star type player because a lot of people believe in Jalen Johnson, and I do too. But I don't know how much I believe. Like he's not going to be a guy. He's not going to be a Giannis, a Shea, or anything like that. Like, even though he's been developing his game every single season, I think he'll never reach that MVP type thing. So we need a player that can potentially maybe reach MVP one year. Even if they're not a unanimous top 5 guy, at least like the New York Knicks have a guy in Jalen Brunson who can, like, you expect Jalen Brunson to maybe in a playoff series compete with like a Shea or a Giannis or something, even if he's not a superstar himself or like in that tier. And, yeah, that's why the draft is giving me hope. But overall, the team constructed right now, not so much. What do you think about the Hawks right now?
I think the Hawks are in a very similar position to the one the Raptors were in just last year or even a couple of years ago, where you have a very modern and like prototypical modern NBA roster of a bunch of wings who can all handle the ball and shoot and defend. You have your primary guy in Jalen Johnson, who is your rebounder, facilitator, scorer. You have your my gosh. You have Dyson Daniels. You have your point of attack defender. You have, Onyeka Okongwu. You have a lot of good pieces, but what you're missing, there's a punch. There's like an oomph that's missing. And maybe that comes in the form of the development of your young guys. Maybe that comes in the form of a guy that you draft. Personally, I don't know what this next offseason should look like for the Hawks. I'm very stuck between wanting them to pursue assets that will make them better next season and simply, taking the guy that they take in the draft and then trying to build for the year after.
Okay, real quick, I am going to interrupt you because I did forget one very big thing, and it is we're going to have so much cap space in the summer that I actually am excited for next season. That's another reason why, on top of the draft pick, because Kristaps Porzingis has done nothing this year. He's played probably 17 games, and he's just been hurt all year. And then the other $30 million from the Trae Young thing was Corey Kispert, who hopefully can turn it around, and then CJ McCollum, who we're going to get rid of for hopefully a better and younger player. So that also gives me a lot of hope for next season. And I also think we have guys who have potential to develop, even if they're not showing it right now.
Yeah.
Like Ariza Shea, who has not improved. You were telling me before the pod, has not improved since last year.
He hasn't. He literally hasn't. He is literally the exact same player he was last year.
Okay. You don't need to freak out on me. Don't need to yell at me. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but I still think even though he didn't improve, he might have just hit a sophomore. What is it? The sophomore wall or sophomore slump? Sophomore slump. And
Corbin, usually you're good in your first year if you have a sophomore slump.
Listen, he was second in Rookie of the Year. All right. Now, was it a very weak Rookie of the Year race? Yes.
I don't know if he would be top 10 in this year's Rookie of the Year race if he did the same thing he did last year this year.
He probably would not. But dude, some of these rookies are not that good. In theory, he's better than Ariza Shea. But Jeremiah Fears has not actually been that good all season. Derek Queen, if you look at the totality, has not been good. He had a good 10-game stretch where people were saying, wow, maybe the trade was worth it. Maybe the Hawks messed up. And then he's back to sucking. Because now the Pelicans they're way healthier and they're actually depending on their veterans to win games. Derek Queen has won one game for himself. Not literally, but he hasn't been that good. So some of these rookies, it's cool. They're showing promise. Maybe they'll hit the sophomore slump. Maybe they won't get better next season. So stop projecting that on my guy. Well, not projecting it. It's happening. But but stop letting me know this like it doesn't happen to other players, okay? Because it will.
It does.
And Ariza Shea is going to take that job.
But
do you remember when John Morant was the same dang play? I was going to say fucking.
Remember when you just said it?
Do you remember when John Morant was the same fucking player in his second year as this first year, and everyone was saying, "Is this just who he is?" And then that third year, he took that big ass leap.
Yeah, the difference is Ja was good in his rookie year,
and
if Ariza Shea takes the same leap that Ja does, he goes from being Jay Crowder to now being Cam Johnson.
Peak Cam Johnson.
Peak Cam Johnson.
Peak Cam Johnson. Hey, in his third year, by the way, Cam Johnson in his rookie year was probably older than Ariza Shea in his third year. That was an old rookie.
Yeah.
So listen, you didn't know that. You're just saying, yeah, I could be lying my ass off.
You could be. I frankly.
Let me see.
Yeah, no, let's verify this for the sake of the argument. I'm going to make a big deal.
Because this matters a lot. Yeah, he was 23 in his rookie year.
Wow.
So, hey. But yeah, Ariza Shea has been disappointing, but I still have hope. It just sucks. Oh my gosh, that quote that Ariza Shea had where he's like, in Europe, I'm this super athlete, and in the NBA, I'm an average athlete. Why would you say that? Why would you say that as the number one pick?
Is he wrong?
He's athletic. I'd say he's above average. I wouldn't say he's he is. He isn't a Ja or Zion or anything.
Right.
He's still above average athletically. I think a lot of his buckets have been alley-oops. But just I even did it. I'm gonna point it out every time. Yeah. But go on. I kind of interrupted you. I don't know how much more you had.
No,
to say,
I don't really have much else.
I do believe in this Hawks team in the future, but I am not watching games super into if we lose or win. I'm just thinking of okay, we won, we lost, whatever. I'm enjoying my time watching them, but I'm not getting too attached because I know that this year's version of our team is not something to invest in.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
I
really
don't
my
got
opinion
much
on it.
else about the Hawks. I think the best thing for them to do next year is going to be to try to be competitive, even with drafting the rookie. Hopefully, whichever rookie they draft can find his shots. Obviously, the ideal fit is Darren Peterson, given his play style and what the Hawks need. Let's just see what happens. But yeah, overall, I think the Hawks are in a good position. I actually think they're in one of the better positions in the East when it comes right down to who they could be in the next 3 to 4 years. The Knicks are getting older. Celtics are getting older. You know, it's at a point in time where there is going to be some, changing of the hands in the East, and the Hawks are in a position to be able to take over one of the top spots that's going to be left vacant.
I'm just happy we're doing an ethical tank because we can afford to, because we don't own our own pick, but we own someone's pick, and it's a really good pick.
Yeah.
Well, it's like technically two people's picks. That's what I like. I'm not watching my team win 12 games and being excited because we'll get a high pick. I'm watching my team be mid, as they are every season, but somehow this is going to change.
This is like if the Falcons had the Raiders pick.
This is, yeah. Except that would never happen. The Falcons didn't have their own pick, and they were mid. It's just an Atlanta thing. You're not missing out on too much, but you're missing out on something.
Would you rather be the worst team?
No, I'd rather be the mid team.
Yeah.
I think I would.
Yeah.
Because the Wizards have been stuck here for a long time.
Yeah. Nothing fun about being the bad team.
Yeah.
Except for Fernando Mendoza. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. You have another topic? I can kind of
that's
run into one.
That's yours.
Actually, which team do I want to talk about? Because I'm gonna make a video probably on the other one.
If you have like a topic, if you don't, we've been recording for a while, so
Actually, yeah, we can kind of end it there. We did have like 3 different things.
Well, we are gonna end it there. We are. That's what I just said.
Nice.
We're gonna end it there. I think we've talked about a lot today. If you guys liked what we did today, like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't like what we did today, comment. Benefits you, benefits us. We can have a bit of a symbiotic relationship.
I don't know you.
Okay.
You know me, but I don't know you.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
What
You know that's how it works. You know that's how the internet works.
Yeah. Is that how it works?
You know, some people, like some people who watch the podcast or the video, not ours. Hopefully not ours yet. We barely uploaded anything.
Yeah.
And it's only getting better. But like some people like actually have that relationship with people like where they think because they watch them every day that they know them. You know nothing about me.
Oh yeah. You have no idea who I am.
I don't have a point of saying that, by the way. I just kind of wanted to point that out. That was my, like, if you told me, do I have any last words? Like, I just went ahead and said it.
You don't know who I am. You don't know where I am. But I will find you.
And I will kill you. I can't say that on the internet.
Nope.
If you know where this window is, you would know where we are, by the way. I mean, that's just kind of how it works.
That's true.
We gave
there
up a little bit
probably
too much.
is someone out there that could just map out this room or like have seen something behind us and figure out where we're at.
Oh, yeah. Google knows.
So hopefully you guys don't disagree with our takes too much. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up there. We'll be back next week with more amazing, incredible, fantastic, sublime,
Subpar? Wait, is that mid?
That's bad.
Oh, that's bad.
Unless you're playing golf. But
So,
anyway,
yeah, below bar.
we're rambling. So have a good day, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe.
You already said that.
Peace out.